Welcome, Internet denizens, to Updated Autopsy Report, a podcast from Yotsuben and Friends where we replay the entire Ace Attorney series with longtime fans and newcomers. I'm your host, Ben, and with me today is Dessy.
Hello.
And two good friends of ours, Tiago.
Yo.
And Rose.
Hi.
Best friends, one might say.
Yes. Dessy and I are the longtime fans, and Rose and Tiago are the newcomers. We hope that through both of our perspectives as we play through the series, it'll reveal new details and provide interesting commentary for a series that's near and dear to us. Today, we have all played nothing. Instead, We're going to be discussing the developer commentary and interviews that shed light onto the creation of Ace Attorney Investigations 2. Since Investigations 2 was the one game that Dessy and I had not played, I did not go into research mode as well for this game, and I instead experienced it with fresh eyes. Although I had seen some things on the internet prior to playing Investigations 2, so I was not completely unspoiled about every aspect of it. Cards on the table, like I knew Gregory Edgeworth was going to show up, and you were going to get to play as him in one case.
Edgeworth.
So that I knew a few things here and there, but I didn't know any huge, big spoilers, thankfully. I had missed, like, the Simon Keyes revelation and stuff like that. So I didn't do my usual research, and so I did that this time, and I thought, why not bundle all that up into one episode so that we can talk about some of the development and also some of the fan reaction and the things that, people thought about this game and reacted to it and that sort of thing. So we're doing that here and now. I guess before I jump into some of my first notes here, I will quick go around here. We've had, since we have last recorded, we've had 2 weeks now to kind of digest this game. I know we kind of did wrap up thoughts last time, but did anybody here have their opinion drastically change since we last talked? Is anybody feeling higher on it now that it's in a slightly more distant memory, or are you more like, it was fine, I
don't know. I liked it better than I thought I would.
I feel better about it now that I have a little space after being frustrated. Not to say I didn't like the game. I feel like I got a little grumpy, but overall I think my impression was pretty positive. But I definitely feel better now that I'm not, like, on a time crunch,
Right.
I think that in regards to the previous game, I really enjoy a lot of the, I feel like this game had a lot more cohesion than I initially gave it credit for, like the sins of the father being passed down to the son. And that is, like, a recurring theme in this game, as well as, like, Miles Edgeworth coming to reckon with, like, his two dads. So, like, I think that this game is, like, I thought to myself, like, most Ace Attorney games have, like, a case 1 or 2 that's just, like, a random fuck-off case that has nothing to do with anything. And I thought, like, as soon as we started doing the, like, Gregory Edgeworth case, I was like, wow, this seems, like, kind of unrelated to the previous 2 cases, the prison case and the presidential assassination. I wonder how this is going to tie up together, and it did pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Good shit.
Yeah. I think this game is overall living in my mind, like, at a pretty decent place. I really did enjoy playing through it. I liked a lot of the characters that showed up, and it was fun to see a lot of the recurring characters that they brought back. They did try to occasionally do some new things with them, or at least have them clash with other characters in interesting ways. In particular, I'm thinking of, Shelley the Killer, right? Clashing with Dogen and that sort of stuff. Like, Shelley the Killer doesn't really change. He doesn't really have a character arc or anything like that. He's just a force of nature. And so they use him that way throughout the rest of the game. I thought that was kind of neat. Like, the biggest character moment he really has is at the end when he's like, well, I guess I won't kill you because I respect the honor of another assassin making this request of me, But yeah, it's interesting. This game is often very highly regarded in the fandom. And I did for a while wonder if that was because it was the only one that hadn't gotten localized. So there was a little bit of an exclusivity feeling, right? If you got to play it, if you knew and read and understood Japanese originally, or, if you played through the fan translation, not as many average fans would go through that hoop, right? To, find a way to hack the files and load that all together, that sort of thing. So there was a smaller subset of the fandom that had played this game. So I wondered if that had kind of amplified it a bit, because it was a little bit of again, like that feeling of exclusivity. But I don't think that explains all of it, right? I do think it is a pretty good game overall. I definitely think it's better than Investigations 1. I do think it's an improvement on that game. And yeah, I still had a lot of fun with it. So I don't know if I'm putting it above, say Game 3 or something like that for me. But it's still I would say it was probably further up there. One day we'll have to do a ranking episode in which we rank a whole bunch of cases and see where we put everything.
That would be like one of the most heart-wrenching podcasts out there, because I would like fucking I don't know, man. There's a lot of cases that I love, and then there's some cases that I think could deserved a better chance, I would say, much like the Big Top Berry Circus or whatever.
They tried to give it a second chance, and I didn't like it that time either.
When was the second chance for the Big Top Berry?
In this game.
Oh, true. I mean, honestly, it kind of creates this notion that if you join the circus, you're going to become a killer. Which, like,
this is true.
You find that interesting.
All right. Yeah.
That'll be a whole separate podcast. That might have to be like a video, because we're gonna have to pull out the fucking tier list shit.
Yeah, I also don't remember anything.
We would have to do it that way. So
yeah,
file it away for the future, perhaps. I will dive into some of my notes here that I was taking. Again, a lot of this is referenced from Gyakuten Saiban Library, .blogspot.com. Ash, the translator there, they're a incredible resource for the community and have translated a lot of otherwise untranslated interviews with the devs. So pretty much, I'd say like 75% of my notes are coming from reading those, translated interviews by them. And the rest is coming from other translated, or localized interviews done across the internet. But again, this was the one game that didn't come out here in America, so very, very few U.S. outlets ever really talked about this game, or to the devs about it. It would be, they did some stuff, I think, for Investigations 1, but for the most part, this one does not really have too much of an English presence. Some kind of like accoutrement, so random trivia here. Reading through the one bit here, and there's some questions and answers with the developers, is that originally they wanted the first case to be set at Gourd Lake, like it finally was, but they thought that was too big of an area for a tutorial case. So they said, we're going to set it at Gourd Lake, but that's just too big, because they assumed that it would have to be as big as it was, as we previously saw Gourd Lake to be.
Yeah, that's like 4 fucking
screens, right? Or something like that. So they moved it inside of Miles's car. This was the idea, to like have it be inside his
interesting
car, and have it be basically like the story would begin with Miles getting in a car crash, and you like the initial screen being like, is Miles all right? Did he die behind the wheel? But then when the camera zooms in, it's a completely different person who died in the car crash, and they've got a nice knife stabbed in their chest. So that was their shocking introduction at first for the game. But as much as they like really liked this kind of like idea to tease the player as they first started it up, they realized that they had the opposite problem now, is that it was too cramped. They're like, well, now you're just stuck inside a car for the whole case. So that's not going to work either. So instead, they decided to go back to Gourd Lake, and they said, well, what if we just made it so that it was locked down for some reason, and you could only be in one segment of Gourd Lake?
Yeah.
And so that is when they started to develop the whole presidential speech, setting and have it cordoned off, with the police lines and the crowd kind of blocking things off. And then basically had it just be inside the plane and outside in the immediate area, that's kind of square area, garden area where you could walk around for a bit.
Yeah, it was essentially just like the stage for the president's speech, and then the audience area, and those were like the outside. So like the whole car idea kind of reminds me of that one. I recall it in a previous recording that we did that Shu Takumi wanted to do like a race car murder mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck don't we have more car themed murder mysteries? I feel like I want more like I want a driver who like started the race and then died halfway through.
Right.
That sounds sick.
Maybe one day we'll get there, but
one day.
But yeah,
I mean, wait, you know if we did or not? You played the other games.
I know, and I'm being coy to leave it open.
Okay.
No spoilers. It's our rule.
Yeah. So the other thing that they did is we talked a little bit about this, in that the devs said that they wanted the first case to feel like a final case right out of the gate. And the way that they did that was by bringing the president of Zhengfa in. Originally, he was not planned to show up in this first case. Instead, it was going to, be teased throughout the game and, show back up later, as the, kind of for the final cases type stuff. But they said, well, what if we just have him show up? He's here giving a speech. It's very, very silly that the president is giving a speech at Gourd Lake of all places. But they said, what if we brought him here? And that is kind of then how things spiraled into the false assassination attempt. So I thought that was kind of interesting about how they kind of pulled in things from later in the game into the beginning to try to ratchet up the excitement.
The car idea is real cute though. Like, I do like that. I understand why they didn't go for it. Like, totally fair. I probably would have made the same determination, but I really like it. That's fun.
Yeah. Speaking of unused ideas, I'll bring up another unused idea that they had, which was they were giving a presentation. This was let's see here. This was called the 10th Anniversary Special Court. This is also where they announced Ace Attorney 5 at the same time. At the very end of this presentation for fans, they they also announced the next game right at the end. But and they showed a trailer here apparently for Professor Layton versus Ace Attorney. But they talked a little bit about some of their unused ideas. And they mention a new character here who is a dolphin trainer. They had a case. This was their, as you said, Tiago, their one-off case that has nothing to do with anything else, right?
Yeah.
So they had their one-off case. This was going to be the third case originally. And you would have a dolphin trainer, and she was the kind of person who would not talk to humans at all. She only could really get along with animals, one of those type of characters, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
And so the critical part of the case would have to be that Miles would have to become friends with the dolphin to be able to communicate with the dolphin trainer.
And Miles Edgeworth, famously known for loving all animals and
He's
being
great.
kind.
He's great with women, children, and animals.
Yeah.
All the time.
So that would be the way he's got to get her to testify that way, basically, like by talking through the dolphin to her.
We've now
That's
established
wild.
that Miles Edgeworth has the same patterns as like the Antichrist in that film. What's the film where like they raise the Antichrist? It's like a famous film.
What?
Remember it? All right.
You
know,
gotta be
like-
more
What, why
specific. I'm
is this
sorry.
the
All right.
Antichrist?
The Antichrist, the movie called Antichrist.
Yeah, I think it might be the movie called Antichrist, where like, yeah, I'm pretty sure
The Lars
it-
von Trier one with Willem
I'm,
Dafoe.
I'm googling, man. Give me a second. It might be the one with Willem Dafoe. Yeah, it might be the one with Willem Dafoe. That's the one that starts off with like the fucking coyote in the beginning, right?
I have not seen it in literally forever, so I cannot tell you.
The point being is that like you can tell who is evil by like an animal's not liking them and like
Oh,
other children and women being scared. So like
that doesn't
now,
ring a bell for that movie, but yeah, you could be right.
we might be thinking about separate films.
Yeah.
That's typical Antichrist shit, though. That's normal.
Yeah. So
yeah.
like I like how like Miles Edgeworth has like this warlock-esque energy around him, like just through his sheer demeanor. You know, I actually do love that they rag on him for it for the entire game. Fucking Gummy and Kay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I as soon as Rose started saying like, oh yeah, women, children, and animals, and I was like, oh yeah, like the devil.
Like the devil.
Like the devil.
Poor
So
Miles.
basically this was going to be set in a SeaWorld type location, right?
Fuck
And the dolphin
SeaWorld.
would be a critical part
You're right.
of the case, as well. And what happened then is that the producer Ishiro Motohide started yelling at the director of the game Yamazaki because he was like, "You've written a game that is far too big." Because this included everything else that's already in the game as a result, and also then this case. And he was like, "What are you doing? Like, this is too big. We're never going to be able to get this done." So they cut the third episode, and because of this, the game would now only have 4 episodes, which is when they split the final episode into 2 separate episodes. So that is how we got the Forgotten Turnabout and the Grand Turnabout. You know,
So there was a timeline where the final 2 cases were one case?
Exactly. Yes, exactly that.
Jesus Christ.
So we already said, man, this should have been more cases. And here's the thing. It was originally one enormous case, right? Where everything was all combined in one. All the stuff with, you know, DeBest's, you know, dad and everything.
I'm
all that stuff was...
he was stopped, because that
Like,
was too long.
Right, and you can see a little bit of that, right? Because the whole DeBest confrontation arc with his dad happens in the next case, right?
Yeah.
So you can see a vision of that in which that feels like the climax, right? And then you're like, oh my god, there's still more. We have to figure out who the real mastermind is. We didn't get the real mastermind, kind of thing. I can see
that should have been its
happening.
own goddamn case, though. Because that would be my favorite case.
Right.
Like, easy. Like,
Yeah.
the thing that I take away from this game that, like, really lifts it up for me is Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
Which I never would have thought when I saw his dopey little face and his little, like, twinkly piano dunce theme music playing. I should have known.
Right.
I should have known right then, but... You know,
he was really rose core.
He's really rose core, and also like
I said that when I first saw him. I said, "Oh, this is a Rose character."
Also, like he had a story that happened.
Yeah, he had a character arc.
You know,
that was real solid. The other one thing is that also this dolphin case would have featured prominently John Marsh and set him up at that point as well. So that is now then why we kind of see John Marsh get that brief teaser in Case 3 with Gregory Edgeworth and everything. That one bit where you see him in the one display at the museum there, he shows up for like half a second and they're like, who's that weird child? And then you never see him again.
I mean, they set up John Marsh during the fucking ice cream case, which is like strange, right? Like that he showed up to look at ice sculptures. What the fuck was that part of his arc?
And the other thing then also was the president of Zhang Fa was also supposed to die in this third case and then got moved to be the victim of Case 5. So there was a bit of a reshuffling for everything, right? You know, they kind of rearranged everything, kind of kept the parts, but just moved them around, you know.
Yeah, like
it was still too long. Like I'm glad they cut it down. I'm glad they were stopped. It was still too long. Like that last case, it wasn't the most heated I've gotten playing this game, because I did have that one time where like I accidentally broke the like sequence of events.
Mm-hmm.
With the shoe, like I don't even remember the case anymore. I'm blinded by rage and I've lost my memories.
I believe it was the second case in Apollo Justice in which that like there is a prompt in which that we ask Emma Sky something.
Oh yeah,
with
and
the
she tells you to
shooter.
fuck off.
But
And then
like
you have to go get something else and go back to her, but she's already told you to fuck off or something like that.
what happens is that if I recall correctly, there was a prompt that was checked off, and you had to click on the checked off prompt to like continue the story. But it's like, then why the fuck was it checked off?
Yeah, you shouldn't check it off if I'm not done. Okay, now I remember. That's the maddest I've been, like objectively. I got real mad. But the last case I did, I was like, I'm like getting a little grumpy that this is taking me so long. But like I said, in the end, I still came out of it positive because that like finish was so strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a strong finish.
Yeah.
It just felt like a wait after a while. You just like, oh, it's finally over. I don't know. I get that feeling a lot with a lot of these games where it's just like, it was fun while I was playing it, but it just is like a huge relief once everything's over. You're just
like, oh, thank God I can go to bed.
I played the game.
If the tension is taut, right? If it's perfectly, the perfect level of tension, then I think that's like almost ideal in a way, right? To have it be this like release as soon as the game is over, and you're like, oh, yes, okay, wow, that was satisfying, right? If it's just the right amount. If it goes just a little too long, though, then yes, that's when it tips into frustrating. I am scrolling. I'm just wrapping up this event page that I was looking at, and Mizuki Ichiro sings the Steel Samurai theme for the crowd here, which is fucking incredible.
Oh hell yeah!
The Devilman Mazinger Z, singer
yeah.
who passed away last year. Just
not
incredible
voice.
Yeah, incredible voice, incredible singer. If you've never seen any of his stuff, just Google his name. I don't know if that. I don't. I'm letting my wife not have to deal with that. I'm moving on.
So what?
I'm not throwing her under the bus for that one. It's okay. I was talking, right? just bad timing. It's fine. Everybody understands.
Yeah, we all understand. Yeah,
he's done a lot of singing.
I backpedal. What the fuck do you want from me?
Yeah, he's done a lot of really good like classic Giant Robot songs. I think he's done some Kamen Rider stuff. That kind of thing. So he sung the Steel Samurai theme for everybody there at this event. So that's pretty fucking cool. I'm also looking at a picture right now of Shu Takumi playing a fucking electric guitar here, and I'm gonna put this in the chat here for everybody so that you can see this.
That's
sick.
Holy shit, he looks
There
like
he
an Ace
is.
Attorney character.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking cool, honestly.
Looks dope as hell.
Yeah,
I mean, listen, would we all like create something that gets famous enough for to be able to go up on stage and play some guitar along with, famous...
Imagine being super creative and making a game and knowing how to play the guitar.
some people probably do that. That's like,
Christ.
okay.
Why do y'all stop? Like, that's not fair. You can't be good at more than one thing.
Oh, true. Good point. My bad.
So I've got just a real one-off since we're talking about Takumi. He obviously was not involved in this game, this one or the first Investigations game, really, aside from helping, with the creation of the original setting and characters. He might have given some behind-the-scenes like opinions on things, but he is not listed in the official credits or anything like that. He did help with promo work for it. But as part of this interview that they did with a bunch of the crew, including Takumi and Ishiro Motohide, the producer, and the director, Yamazaki Takeshi, somebody asked them, what brings you comfort at work? And Ishiro, the producer, says, the drinks after a hard day's work.
Oh my god, dude. Stay away from the bottle.
Takashita says, it's not really at work, but I love seeing people buying Gyakuten Saiban at the store. And then Takumi says, I Wild Turkey Bourbon, and Mr. Takashita's smile.
Oh.
And then Yamazaki, the director of Ace Attorney Investigations and 2, says, "We have a snack corner at the offices of the Gyakuten Kenji team. You'll always find the newest snacks there, so it's really the spot where everyone takes a break, but we also get fatter there." Laughs.
Okay, I was about to be like, I really hope they don't have, like, a fucking bottle of whiskey in the snack corner.
You know,
I know
they
that's the one thing we've learned. Is that there's a lot of drinking going on.
They're fucking
There's
deep
a
in the
lot,
bottle.
a lot of drinking going on.
I feel like I've got to apologize for being sniffly with my allergies right now because I am
Nah.
Oh, you're
Nah.
causing a scene.
It's
Less-
hardly
Bad
coming
this year,
through.
folks.
No, it's not.
So-
I don't even hear it.
I don't hear
All
it.
right. Good.
So
Nobody
then,
hear it. Close
Get
your
this in.
ears.
Simply do not listen.
There is also a this is from 2011, a Dengeki Online Q&A, fan Q&A with the developers of Investigations 2. This is also translated by Ash at Gyakuten Saiban Library. And so they basically took online questions from fans, and the whole dev crew answered them. So these answers are not one person answering, right? It is like a collaborative answer. It just says from the Ace Attorney Investigations developers, right? So it's hard to know exactly who wrote some of these. It does say some of them do have names at the end here. Some of them do say this was from, Mashiro, or this was from Yamazaki. So occasionally they do say who. But all that to say, I have a few of these fan questions. Most of them are goofy, but I thought they were very entertaining. So a fan question from Bikini Monster.
Nice.
Where do they sell that frilly thing that Edgeworth always wears?
It's a bunch of
Oh.
napkins
Is it
that he
custom
shoved
made?
into his neck.
Oh.
And the developers answer, it's a custom-made item by a designer hired by Manfred von Karma. It's not something you can easily find, so if you want to try to make one yourself, go ahead.
I'm Goldwing Cravat.
Good Lord, Europeans.
Is Kay a dog person or a cat person?
Off
Answer.
of vibes alone, dog.
She's a crow person.
The answer here is she's a bird person.
God damn it.
Ha-ha.
But if she had to choose, probably a cat person. She was playing it with the cat in the prison, remember?
Ah, god damn it. I lost.
A question that I think even came up with us once. Does Kay go to high school normally?
I
It might not
don't-
look like it, but she does go to school. Her best subject is PE.
That makes
That is
sense,
true. Yeah,
Deadass.
that's true.
She's a jock.
And this one is also pretty decent here. Why does Sebastian de Best have a conductor's baton? From Moeru Lion. According to himself, the investigation of a case is always dangerous. It's dangerous just to touch the evidence you've just found. So he pokes the evidence first with his baton to see what happens.
Does he think
By
that
the-
everything is a bomb?
That
Like,
would be me though. I'm pro, like, I don't know what this is, and I'll poke it with a stick. Like, that
Right.
checks out.
literally everything, though? And why does it have to be a conductor's baton? I
What am I
thought,
gonna do? Touch stuff and put my
It's
fingerprints
just like a
all over
retractable,
it?
like, stick
wear
thing.
gloves!
He is wearing
Gloves.
gloves. By the way, the reason why he is wearing gloves 24/7 is because no matter what trouble he might get into, quote, he'll never leave fingerprints because that's how a first-rate prosecutor conducts himself, end quote.
Oh, Dad taught him that.
I guess, but like, then
Not
why
his
does
dad.
dad has stupid ass fucking gloves with the words death on the fingers?
That's just because he's an Ace Attorney villain, I think.
Yeah, fair enough, I guess.
It's terminal.
Duh.
Question from Gyakuten Ranpa. What does Mikagami hit with her hammer? Mikagami is Justine Courtney's Japanese name.
Yeah.
It's the floor. They don't find footprints, but gavel prints wherever she has visited a crime scene. In the early production stages, there was an idea to have Sebastian take out a stand and that she could use her gavel on. So originally there was an animation in which he would pull out a whole judge's stand, push it in front of her, and then she would slam down her gavel on it.
Oh my god.
I want to see that
Yeah.
animation.
That's actually sick, actually. That's tight as fuck.
So I assume it was probably just too big of an animation or elaborate of an animation to make that happen all the time. But that's very funny.
Oh yeah, the time syncing of him setting up the fucking stand would tilt us so hard.
That's true. We get grumpy when the animations are too long. Tiago and I are like animals that get like, oh, if you do that, it bothers them. Like,
it's the fucking like I imagine myself as like the chimpanzee knocking on the door, being like, "Let me the fuck out of here." So like, Justine Courtney has a big ass gavel and she hits it on the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think how does she think it weighs? Like, is it top heavy? How heavy is it?
I hope it's heavy
7.
so she can be buff as hell.
Okay. We got 7 and Rose's whole answer. Ben, what's your answer?
That's a good question. I imagine it's actually pretty light. Gavels are actually. Have you ever lifted an actual gavel before?
No.
They're not like heavy, but they are unwieldy, right?
Yeah.
At least
like
the one I picked up the one time, it was like because it's all wood on the one end basically, and then a little tiny handle. They don't make them really big anymore.
They don't make them like they used to.
I think they make them pretty tiny now, honestly.
That's such a shame.
I'm just imagining that, like, imagine she takes out the gavel, she hits on the ground, and the gavel just fucking snaps, right? Like, because I can't imagine the head of the gavel could be supported by an extendo staff, right?
Yeah, whatever's in there's got to be strong as hell.
Otherwise,
she's got like a fucking Bloodborne trick weapon, basically.
She really does.
Yeah,
dude, roleplay Justine Courtney in Bloodborne.
Oh my god.
Slightly related here, a question from Aru. Can the gavel of the regular judge also extend like Justine's?
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
The answer from the devs is no.
Aww.
He'd hurt his back.
Boo,
He'd hurt his back if he swung a long gavel like that.
Bro, it's for his own safety.
He could have used to do it when he was younger. Come on.
No, he's the most human judge, alright? No matter...
The most human person would, if they had a giant hammer, just be hitting shit with it.
They would accidentally kill somebody and then he'd feel super bad about it. Remember that one time he was a witness and he gave testimony, and when he gave wrong testimony, he was fucked up for like a whole day?
I mean,
like,
his testimony wasn't even all that wrong.
But he was still fucked up. He had to go home.
He's like, I'm such a disappointment.
He got somebody led him as a witness by accident, purely, because there was a gunshot and he heard a noise, so that must have been the gunshot. But it turned out
every loud noise in the Ace Attorney universe is a gunshot.
He had to take a mental health
one
day.
Time. Yeah, honestly, good. Take a mental health day.
Imagine like fucking Miles and Phoenix are like arguing, and he just gets up and be like, "Guys, I gotta take a mental health day. Y'all are going at it too hard today."
Miles and Phoenix need to take a mental health day.
True.
You're right.
Yeah, he tells everybody, including the defendant, "All right, mental health day, everybody. We'll meet back tomorrow." Yeah, because I just wonder, like, that gavel, I feel like it would snap, and like as soon as it did, Justine would be like, "Aw."
I get the next one.
My gavel.
It would be funny if she opened up her jacket and there was just like a whole bunch of them hanging like on the inside of her coat, like a bunch of watches, you know?
What I thought of the Resident Evil 4 merchant. Whenever I think about something inside of a jacket.
What are you buying?
What are you prosecuting?
I love that. I love that guy.
Get him to be a judge. The new guest judge is the Resident Evil merchant.
I've loved him for so long. He's like one of my favorite Resident Evil characters.
What are you testifying? Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, we gotta move
but
on.
have him on the stand now. Okay.
No, he'd be the judge, and then
I can't let people think I like something that's popular now. I gotta keep going.
It's kind of related. Capcom. There's a couple questions here about ray shields from fans. So the fan Tsukushinbo Popo asks, what does ray shields pose with the double peace sign mean? So this is actually really fascinating, just a little cultural difference, that a fan was not, sure what was going on there. Whereas we read that instantly as the quotes symbol.
Yeah,
So
he's
the devs
doing air quotes at
Yeah.
you.
So the devs explain that isn't a peace sign. It's a gesture often used in the English language world and is to emphasize a phrase with quotes. You'll see it used a lot in foreign drama series, so try to look for it next time you watch one.
That's kind of wild. Yeah, I guess that isn't because. Wow, I never thought about the possibility that like the quotation marks isn't translatable.
Yeah.
Huh.
Fan also asks, did Ray pass the bar exam at age 19? If that's true, that'd make him a prodigy, just like Miles. And they said, yes, he did pass it then. That's pretty amazing. Excuse me.
If
I don't know. Everybody's amazing. It doesn't.
Yeah, if everybody passes the bar at 19, no one is special.
This bar is getting lower.
And then the devs continue. I wonder how many notepads he had to eat for that.
I think he has consumed the Library of Alexandria, and that's why he's able to do all this.
That bastard.
That bastard. Go ahead.
Miles Edgeworth fan club member number 3 also asks,
oh, it's me.
Has Ray never had problems with his stomach by eating paper? And the devs say, no, it's the paper the human body can safely consume, so it's okay. He's also very careful when it comes to his health. Basically, them just going, don't worry about it. It's paper that's totally safe to eat.
That's actually fucking hilarious. The fact that like people are worried about his goddamn digestion. I think honestly, as someone who
that
ate
much paper on screen,
he didn't eat that much paper on screen. He's like fine. He washed it down with like some of the corpse gelato or whatever.
Yeah, people did eat that. People ate that gelato that had a dead body in it, everybody.
I was wondering how long y'all would allow that to linger in the air.
Oh, I was still upset about it. And at the time, I was like, this is terrible. And Tiago, you were like, I would do it. And I was like, please.
I think if I didn't know, I mean, it's just gelato.
Well, of course, if you don't know, but once you know afterwards, like, that's bad.
How much, like, do you think germs can travel through gelato?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Never mind, my bad. Alright, never mind, I won't eat it.
Please do not eat anything that has a dead body of, like, a human person.
I'm glad you added more stipulations, because I was going to cut in, like, a huge asshole and be like,
yeah,
but you eat meat!
There's and it takes a lot of work for that meat to be safe for us to eat, so...
Yeah.
Sure.
Also, just don't eat high in the food chain.
Yeah. The fans also then ask a little bit about Blaze to Best. So there is a brief question. I won't go fully into it, but they mention, hey, take note of all the prosecutor badges on Blaze's jacket. There is one spot open for Miles's badge, if you didn't notice that.
Oh.
So he's got a whole rack of all of them, and there's one little spot left, that's not filled in for Miles's badge to go there if he beat him. And then a question from Tomopon. I felt a shudder when I realized that Blaze de Best, Manfred von Karma, and Damon Gant were all active in the same period. Are there any plans to show how these three became evil? And the devs answer, it'd be fun if we could tell the story of those three, but it'd probably become something like a dark Roman picaresque. I doubt that'd make for a good game.
Buddy, give me the game.
We don't want this to become Game of Thrones, so we're not going to do it.
I want to play as them.
I got, so real quick, just so I can remember, Damon Gant is the police chief in Case 1-5, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right, sweet. Glad that I could use my powers of memory
One
and remember.
who loves to go swimming.
Glad I could recall.
Oh, my boy.
Active recall, go! Yeah, I mean, that's awful.
They've essentially constructed the worst prosecutorial office ever, right? Just through virtue of the fact that they have made all these games.
System failure.
Yeah, and they were all covering each other's shit up, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
They were all we're kind of scrabbling for power between us, but also we can kind of make it work together as a team.
Right.
Even if they weren't like actually working together. They covered each other's shit up. They definitely did.
Do you guys think that Damon's alive in prison?
Probably. He's a police chief.
That's fair. I guess there
special treatment.
Yeah, true. I was like, there's two like timelines, right? Where he has like a Godfather-esque setup in his jail cell, where he has TV, food, restaurant, takeout, Grubhub.
Grubhub.
Or the other situation where like he is being beaten every day by all the other prisoners.
He's just dead.
Yeah, true. I kind of forgot about that guy, and then I thought about him, and I was like, oh, that guy was actually like pretty cool as like a villain, you know? Sorry.
Yeah, they've got like 3 like really compelling villains, and they were all hanging out at the same time, like
chilling.
They're going to create Evil Court.
Evil guy, they did.
The League of Evil. Manfred von Karma, Blaze the Best, Damon Gantz, and Patricia Rowland. She's there too. She's part of the Evil League. You let her be there. Yeah, okay, thank you.
She's there.
There was another question from Tiger Inu. Can you tell me which of the new characters were most popular with the staff? And the question here, they answer this with the most popular character amongst the female staff. Is what they answer with. So would anybody like to guess the most popular character, new character in this game amongst the female staff?
I have my guess. I'm waiting for everyone else to say their guess.
I'm trying to think of all the characters. It's probably Simon.
My guess is also Simon Keys.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pick the worst possible thing.
I picked his Jokerification.
No, you know
Dessy.
what? It's probably John because, again, women are either characters or mothers. Change my answer.
What the fuck? Okay. That's what's your guess?
Which one do the female development staff most like?
Ray.
All right, the answer is Sebastian de Best.
God damn it.
They had better taste than we give them credit for. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, ladies.
They're actually based as fuck, actually.
That's on me.
That's on me. I was thinking the Joker-fried one, because I thought, like, I'm thinking about, like, fucking sexy murder clown.
Yeah, because everyone in Japan just freaking loves clowns.
True. They love them over there. Maybe we should take a lesson.
No.
Alright, fair enough.
Alrighty. Last question I'll pull from this question and answer session is from Mika. They ask, I think that Gumshoe helped a lot in Ace Attorney Investigations 2. Are there plans for a spinoff with him as a protagonist? A spinoff with let's see here, with Francisca also sounds fun. And the devs answer, it'd be fun to have series with other protagonists besides Miles. However, perhaps a detective game wouldn't work if Gumshoe was the protagonist.
Wow, dude.
If Francisca became the protagonist, though, we'd need an assistant who can withstand all the whipping, so that might be difficult to find.
I think that Gumshoe can get a game, bro. He'd be like the,
He'd be fine. Aw, you guys are so
I know.
mean.
Even the devs are kicking Gumshoe.
I know. They didn't treat him as well this game. I'm glad that, like, the people in the Q&A are pushing back.
Push back.
He got his moment at the end, but it took a while, didn't it?
I didn't think he'd be fucking eviscerated, like, every time. Like, I don't know. Like, I get the whole thing about Gumshoes that, like, he is supposed to be this incompetent detective, but, like, he's got fucking heart, man. Like, he's in it for the right reasons. He cares about these people. He does want to find the evil perpetrator. It's just that, like, it's strange, because, like, when we play as Phoenix, he's, like, antagonistic. He, like, always accuses our client and pulls up evidence that is, like, fucking, what's the word I'm looking for? It's circumstantial at best. But it's not like he's doing it out of a malicious reason. Manfred von Karma did it so that he could pad his perfect record. Gumshoe's doing it because he's just wrong, and that's, like, a problem in and of itself, but, like, not a fucking affecting of his character. Give the guy a break.
Yeah, I think we're all Gumshoe stands here, essentially, right? You know, I think I would love to see Gumshoe get more of a starring role, and I don't think that that everybody else needs to think so poorly of his intelligence and character, you know?
Wasn't there like the idea is that this game was actually going to star Emma Skye instead? It'd be like a detective game instead. Is that like?
Yes, that is correct.
We could have had Emma Skye and Gumshoe team up. They could have been friends. It could have been like NBC series.
Right. Yeah, I mean, let me see if I can find it here. There was definitely a segment here where they actually talked a little bit about that. Let me see. I know I have it in my notes here somewhere.
Baba Booey.
Baba Booey.
Yep.
Heard it here first, folks.
I like saying Baba Booey. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Do you not like saying it?
I didn't say there was anything wrong with it.
I can't believe you hate it.
No defense from Ben. See.
He's deep in the notes.
It's because I'm trying to find my notes, and I'm not.
That's when Tiago comes out.
Nothing to say about it.
In the meantime, let me bring up this other note here so that you guys can vamp about this. In a 4Gamer interview with the devs, they asked about the pun for Sebastian DeBest's name in Japanese. Mm-hmm. So this is his Japanese pun name. All right.
Oh.
It is Ichiyanagi Yumihiko is his name.
Okay.
And so you can read the name Ichinayagi as Ichiru, first class. Yumihiko sounds like the name of a wealthy kid. But when you read his full name, you can read it as Ichiyanaki Yumiwohiku, which is using a bow without any arrows.
Jesus Christ.
So his name is a really elaborate pun, basically, to basically say firing blanks.
That's a lot. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's like the most in-depth fucking pun I could think of.
So I found my notes about the Emma Skye original game here. So they went into a little bit more depth about it here. So Yamazaki said, here, I brought some documents with me, especially for this interview. It's dated October 2007. That was so long ago. 9 years. It's not a proper proposal, but there's the planning memo for the game with Akane as the protagonist, Emma. Because Emma appears in the time periods of both original 3 Gyakuten Saiban games and Gyakuten Saiban 4, the game will portray Emma as the protagonist across both of those periods. It says that here, so apparently that was our plan back then, I guess. Iwamoto says, so you'd also show the past and portraying the passing of the 7 years. Yamazaki, we were thinking about making a jump in time each episode between the duo of high school student Emma and Miles and the duo of Detective Emma and Clavier Gavin 7 years later. Oh. Emma would have had an item called the all-purpose glasses, which would enable her to see traces left on a crime scene that you normally couldn't see. That was the original idea that would eventually turn into Kay Faraday's Little Thief.
You know
so
what?
They would do some forensic investigations with footprints and follow them with the mini characters and then questioning and all that stuff. And then you'd be given deduction quizzes at the end. They don't go into too much detail about what that exactly entails, but you can see where things grew into investigations then.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
I'm not gonna lie, the idea of seeing Emma and Clavier like palling around solving crimes together is definitely compelling, right?
Yeah, like I'm stunned. I'm like,
I want to see Apollo.
I miss my boy.
We all miss Apollo so much. He's like, I was gonna say, never mind.
We'll get more Apollo eventually. Don't worry.
I know,
but he doesn't get his own game again.
You know how like there's that story about like the Where the Wild Things writer, like a kid said, "Oh, I love your stuff so much," and then the writer responded with like, "Yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad you like it. Here's a drawing," and then the kid ate the drawing because he was so happy. That's how I feel about Apollo. I just wanted to put him in my mouth.
Yeah. And
oh my god.
And he took that and said, like, this is the greatest compliment I can receive from a small child, because
he fucking gets it.
You know,
yeah.
If we hang out with little kids, I liked your drawing so much I ate it.
It's so that's fucking tight as hell, actually. So like, hold on, I'm gonna print out a picture of Apollo later.
Right.
Tiago's eating paper again.
Why are you snitching, bro?
I have two more little bits before we wrap up here. One was that in one of these interviews, they talk about how it took a lot of technical work to get all the animations to happen for Simon Keyes in the final segment of the game. All the animals and everything like that, they were all really elaborate. And they said they couldn't just ask an animator to do it. They actually needed to get some programmers involved to essentially have these, like, the juggling animations happen. They said the biggest one was we had so many troubles getting the gorilla on screen. We had to get a programmer to put the gorilla in for us. It just took up too many pixels. You know?
I see. Okay,
and they couldn't give us young.
Slowed the game down.
They couldn't give us young Gumshoe.
Yeah, that's fucking Dess's crossed bear. Holy shit! It's so mad about young Gumshoe.
We were fucking denied.
So they put a lot of work into getting that all to happen. And then lastly, this one's like a little more philosophical, because they were asked about, hey, how do you handle these games when Takumi, who kind of created this series, is not here anymore and is not, a director or producer on these games? How do you feel like you're respecting his vision and that kind of thing? So it was one of those types of questions. And the producer, Ishiro, says there are lots of fans of the Gyakuten Saiban series, and among them, many of them love the characters. Talking from the point of view of a producer, I want to handle these characters very carefully so that their taste isn't lost. But I also want to make sure they aren't only understandable for insiders. It's bad if new players don't get anything out of it, and only the people who already know the series can enjoy it. So that balance is important, but very difficult. Yamazaki says, quote, "We cannot destroy Shu Takumi's Gyakuten world. That's our premise. But on the other hand, we can't do anything to deepen the experience if we keep on thinking only the things that Shu Takumi did matter. So it's difficult to strike a good balance between that. Most of the Gyakuten world was created by Shu Takumi on his own, so the rules of that world really depend on him. Of course, it's not like they're set in stone, but the point is recognizing them and building on them. When we want to add something new, we must pay attention to see if it fits the world that's already there and see if it doesn't go against it. I often talk about it with Mr. Iwamoto, but the Gyakuten world really has surprisingly unrealistic parts, but also very realistic parts. You get too far away from reality and it stops feeling like the series, but reality as it is boring, so we need to be right in the center of that. We always have discussions as the devs that go like, that's too crazy, it's not Gyakuten like, or no, that's just about right. And we go back and forth about that all the time. So yeah, I just, they seem to at least have their hearts in the right place, as far as like trying to strike that balance for the series. Granted, this is now a decade plus old interview, essentially. And Yamazaki takes over the series from here on out. You know, he directs Ace Attorney 5 and Ace Attorney 6. But as of today, not as of today, excuse me. As of now, the present time, he has left Capcom.
Mm-hmm.
So he is no longer an employee of Capcom. So that is also part of the reason why a lot of people right now are like, well, what's happening with Ace Attorney?
Yeah.
There's really no news for the series.
I feel like I have an antagonistic relationship with Capcom in general, so we'll see.
Now, Capcom's been doing very well as a company recently as well, and the last game in the series, Great Ace Attorney 1 and 2, did very well in its re-release especially. So it was very successful. So I don't think it's the end of the series, but exactly how it will continue, I do think is kind of an open question, and we don't really know. Now, if you're listening to this podcast episode in the future, a year or two from now, when a new game has already been announced,
Hello,
maybe
future.
my words Yeah, maybe my words are going to sound like completely out of whack or perhaps prescient. I don't know. But
maybe we're all still waiting.
Yeah, maybe we're all still waiting as well. Like maybe me going like, man, I'd love to get a new Ace Attorney game. Maybe Shu Takumi will come back and do another Ace Attorney game. You know, who knows at this point. But you know, the series is not dead at the very least because they seem to continue to be doing concerts for it, stage plays. Like they just announced a new stage play for Ace Attorney. So in Japan, at least, it is still thriving.
They're rocking and rolling.
Wait, so
yeah.
So these stage plays, right? Are they based off of existing cases, or are they like new cases?
They are based off existing cases.
Got it. I'll just be like, yeah, we gotta watch one and do a review.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, we could do that. Let me pull it up here because these are typically musicals.
Ooh.
So these are. Let me find them here because I want to get the name
theater
of
kids.
I'm
not
organization.
I wasn't even a theater kid, but I respect y'all to a certain degree.
I was and I don't.
To a certain degree, I'll respect theater kids. So like I just want to touch upon like the world building that they have for Yakuza Saiban Ace Attorney series. In which that they have to recognize that there is a certain level of whimsy in the world that has to be maintained. There has to be wackadoo characters, but the wackadoo characters need to eat and drink. And I think that like
we definitely had some characters where I was like, okay, this is stupid, but it's okay because it's Ace Attorney stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Like if there's like who's like the closest character we've seen be too silly for Ace Attorney? I'm like trying to think about
the clown, the fucking clown.
But that's easy to say, right? Because he's a clown. But like,
yeah, I mean, I did just hate him. Who is too much for Ace Attorney?
Yeah, who is a concept so crazy in Ace Attorney that it could not exist? Because like,
I gotta think about that. That's hard,
right?
Like, I can think of a couple of people who are like a little too realistic. Like, sorry, Ray Shields. I found him kind of a fun character. Too realistic, too normal.
Yeah,
his
Eating paper doesn't
are...
push him over the goofy side to you.
Like he just looks like a human man.
He grew out of that. That's the thing, right? Is that like he grew out of his quirk and therefore became normal.
Who is too much?
I want to say
that's rough.
Like honestly, like
there's gotta be some like crazy ass witness.
I want to
just not happening.
Clavier is almost too much. Almost, right? Like,
because a rock star who's also a prosecutor, basically.
A rock star who is also
maybe
a prosecutor.
It's his band. They're a little on the edge.
The Gaviniers.
Yeah. I'm sorry, rock and roll and cops just doesn't go good together. Boys.
That might be, but like, in the world of Ace Attorney, that kind of makes sense, though, because it's a pro-law society.
Oh man, apparently not, because look who's been running the show.
True, good point.
So I found my information that I was looking for here. Basically, there have been apparently some Chinese stage plays that are not musicals for Ace Attorney, but the main thing I was thinking of was the Phoenix Wright musicals, the Ace Attorney musicals, which are done by the Takarazuka Revue, which is an all-ladies musical group.
Hell yeah.
And these are actually original, essentially.
Holy shit, they're...
Roughly, yes. So let me pull up the summaries for each of them here.
Oh my god. Congrats to all lesbians.
Yeah. So if you ever wanted to... Yeah, so there are recordings of some of these on YouTube, so maybe one day we can take a look at these. So I'm glad to share this wonderful news with the two of you. But yeah, the Takarazuka Revue is a very well-beloved and I think decently famous troupe in Japan who does these, stage plays and musicals. Here's the summary for the first one. Gyakuten Saiban, The Truth Reborn. In New York, Phoenix Wright was thinking about his former lover, Leona Clyde, when a news bulletin came on saying that Senator Robert Cole had been murdered and that Clyde was the main suspect.
Yo, oh my god.
So he goes to defend her and
names.
then takes up her defense against the undefeated genius prosecutor, Miles Edgeworth.
Why is Miles Edgeworth also in New York?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
It makes sense for Miles to be in New York. He flies around all over the place.
Okay, fair enough.
After the trial ended, they find the real killer.
No spoilers.
Governor Miller Author.
Miller Author.
Amazing.
And after the trial ended, Leona still went to jail as she tampered with the crime scene. Wright declared that he will wait for her and confessed his love for her, to which she responded by running into his arms with tears in her eyes. The end.
I almost want you to not describe the other two plots in case that we do watch this.
I mean, on the one hand, that's ludicrous. On the other hand, congratulations to all lesbians.
Yeah, the second one features Francisca shows up. Maya Fey shows up in the second one. And I'm sorry, the third one is so insane. I just need to read you at least the first couple sentences.
Yeah,
here.
no, give me like the general summary of the, like, not the entire case, but like the premise.
Taking place between the first two musicals, Edgeworth, the focus of this one, has been wandering the world for several years, trying to find a new reason for practicing law. As he boards a flight to visit his hometown in California, he runs into a hopeless loser and wannabe ladies' man Larry Butts.
Oh my god.
After both fall asleep on the plane, they wake up to discover that they are somehow in the past when Gregory Edgeworth, Miles' father, was still alive, and find themselves embroiled in a murder investigation involving a woman named Allison Teresa.
Holy shit. Wait, are they both
Miles is determined to unravel what happened, even if it means prosecuting against his own father.
Holy shit, bro. That is wild.
There's some wild stuff going on there.
This is great. This is good for fan fiction. This is good for the people. All of these sound ludicrous.
Would you watch
ludicrous
it?
in the best way?
No! Oh my god! Maybe.
No?
No, maybe.
Can I play a drinking game?
I would never. Maybe.
A drinking game where, like, every
I
time...
would need to be, like, at minimum 2 drinks in. But...
That's not impossible.
That's not impossible. But oh my god, they sound awful. I love it.
Shout out to all lesbians. You've given way more to society than the United States government has.
That's not difficult.
Yeah, that bar is kind of low, but I'm sure they appreciate it.
Yep. Okay. I think that'll do it for us this week, folks. Right? I think that's a good note to end it on.
Yeah, we dropped like a crazy bomb of like whatever that was.
Well, yeah. Listen, this is knowledge I've been holding for a while. It just really didn't have a chance to bring it up, you know.
It's wonderful. Thank you.
It's a wonderful little corner of the Ace Attorney world. So yeah, you can follow the show on Twitter at Ace Attorney Pod, on co-host at Ace Attorney, or on our website, updatedautopsy.report, to stay up to date on our latest episodes, as well as the YouTube uploads of Dessy and I and Iro playing through the game. You can follow me on all social media at Yotseben. Dessy, where can people find you?
Yes, this is Des on Twitter if you want to see what I'm obsessing over at the time.
And Tiago.
At Tiago S. Dutra on various social medias. Me, Ben, and Iro just finished Paranormal Side on the YouTube channel. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, by the time this goes up, I believe all episodes should be live. So if you want to check that out, it's a really, really neat visual novel that we did on the side. So check that out. And Rose.
You can find me at Rose Nonsense on co-host mostly, and sometimes Tumblr.
All right. Thanks so much for listening. We hope that you will rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform of choice. Next episode, we will be jumping into the one and only Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. And if you are playing along with us, we are going, since this is broken up into chapters, we are going to be playing Prologue 1 and Prologue 2 for next episode. So we're going to try to divide this up into, I think, 5 chunks. So if you're going to play along with us, play through Prologue 1 and 2, which are basically the introductions for both Layton and Phoenix. And then next time we will delve into our discussion on that. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.
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 Bye.